I researched and looked at a lot of other people's Notion templates, and I will tell you, and I'm not being cocky, I just feel like it just wasn't given. It wasn't given what it needed to give. It wasn't. Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Quinn, and I make content focused on faith and productivity. And today's video, I really want to talk about something I'm very proud of to have built. It is a Bible tracker template in Notion, and it is very extensive. It took me about 2 to 3 months to build, and I don't want to say perfect, but get it to a point where I felt like I was ready to share. And so in this video, I'm going to not only be talking about what it does and why I feel like I needed it, but I'm going to go through a little tutorial to show you how it works and all the features. I love productivity. I love anything that's going to help keep me organized. And a couple years ago, I got introduced to Notion. Notion is a little bit of a learning curve. I'm not going to lie to you. It took me some years. I will say that. It took me some years to really crack the code on Notion, and I'm still learning a lot, but you really have to rewire the way you think about how things get done. If you are like an engineer or a coder or something like that, then I think Notion would be great for you. But if you are not, it definitely is a steep learning curve. But once you learn Notion, it is so dope. I'll do a whole other video on how I use Notion to kind of organize my life and my brain. But specifically, I was looking for something that was going to help me better track my daily Bible study readings. And so one thing about me is I love notebooks and things like that. So I tend to have a lot of different journals with different information in it. So sometimes I have notes, for instance, I'm reading through Genesis and I have notes about Genesis spread across notes and binders and digital notes. And I'm just I wanted one place where I could really, why is this, hold on. Okay, let's shut this down. Cause she making noise. She's been through a lot today. On the floor. What was I saying? Notion. Yes. So I wanted a place where I could just keep all of my Bible study, not only my notes when I was ready, but also just a way for me to track to see what I'm reading when, how long has it been since I last picked up my Bible, and just, trying to recognize patterns and how I read or whatever. And because I keep a lot of the things that circulate, I'm a creative, so I have a lot going on in my brain. So I keep a lot of that information in Notion, and I was like, okay, how can I keep all of my Bible study notes? So what I do is I have a binder that I use, because now, I can just write on loose leaf and put it, it could get in where it fit in. But then I also use Notion because I want my Bible tracker on Notion to be something that 5 years from now, I can go back and just build on top of everything I've been learning and reading for the last 5 years. It's no secret that when you're on this faith journey, when you read the Bible in a year, you're going to read it again and again and again and again. And every time you read it, you're going to take away new things from it. Depending on what you need in that season will depend on what you resonate with and take away from it. And so I just always wanted to be in a place where if I had to go back to Genesis, or I had to go back to Exodus or Ecclesiastes or wherever, all my original notes are there for me to reference as I'm also adding to it. And I just felt like Notion was the best place to do that. I'm a very meticulous person, and so I needed something very particular. So my Notion template, like I said, is very extensive. It has every book of the Bible. It has every chapter of the Bible. You can do chapter studies. You can do geographical studies. You can do character studies. You can do thematic studies. It has multiple linked databases. So that it's no matter what page, whether you're on the main page or whether you're a chapter deep, everything is just nice and organized for you to just build on. And it's the kind of tracker, it's not meant for you, and you'll see when I go through the tutorial, it's really not meant for you to fill it out all in one sitting. It's meant to grow with you. As you grow in your faith, that tracker is meant to also grow. And obviously feel free to customize it when you get it. And I just want to say this disclaimer, it is a pay what you want product. If you look in the link in my description, the digital products, all of them are pay what you want. So if you want to put $0 in the box, that's fine, go get it. Or if you want to put $20 in the box, you want to put $100 in the box, whatever you want to do. If you get it for free and then you feel like, oh, this is really good, I'm gonna go back and actually give her the money if you feel like it's worth it. But whatever. I really feel like I really just built, like I said, I built it for me, but I felt like this could really help other people. And so go check out the digital products, take what you need, send it to someone who you think could benefit from it. And I'm just really excited to show you. So let's get into the tutorial. I filmed this tutorial a while back, so you're not going to actually see my face in this one. You'll just hear my voice. And then we'll come back and talk about it after. I want to make products that are going to help people grow in their faith journey and grow closer to God in the most like underwhelming, non-stressful, straightforward way. And the reason why I built this Bible tracker, for one, I use Notion in my life, personal life, professional life, for a lot of different things. And I wanted a one-stop shop kind of place where I can just put all of my notes throughout my faith journey. For me, I'm reading through the Bible in order as it's presented. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is create a tracker that can grow with me, right? So a tracker that is going to allow me to not only take the notes that I'm taking and fill out all the information about every chapter in each book as I'm going through it, but then later down the line, if I decide to return back to Genesis or return back to Joshua or return back to the gospel, it's like I can see my notes from when I first read it. Excuse me. I can see my notes from when I first read it, and I can build on top of those things. So also, if I need to just come back and reference things, right? Like for instance, I've read the book of Genesis a number of times, and I have notes scattered all over the place. So every time I'm like, okay, I want to go back to read something in Genesis or just read Genesis as a whole again, I always have to like consult multiple different notebooks to see like, well, what did I think about this chapter before? Or what did I think about this verse before? And so I built this tracker so that as those things come up as I'm going through my Bible study, I can just put them in the tracker. And so if I ever come back to it, I have all those notes and everything there already. And so this tracker is not something for you to fill out in one sitting. It's something for you to go through and just fill out as you go along your faith journey and as these things become relevant. So let's look at this first tab, which is called Books of the Bible. We have status. Well, first of all, before I get into that, I divvied everything up by Old Testament. So you see all the books of the Old Testament and all the books of the New Testament, as well as all of the chapters for each book, right? So I have all of the chapters. If you don't see all of the chapters here, you always just press load more, which is right there, and it will load the rest of the chapters for you. If you don't see load more anymore, then that means you have them all. Same thing for a big chapter like Genesis or Isaiah. You see load more, it'll load more. Load more, and there we go, Genesis 50. And so that's first of all. Then the columns that I have here are status, book, the book number as it appears in the Bible. So there are 66 books in the Bible. And the reason why I did it like this is because sometimes Notion gets a little funny and things can get out of order. So this ensures that things stay in order. The genre, so I color coded it by genre. So the books of the Bible are all categorized by genres. And so I did that so that you can always know what genre you're in or what you're reading. So we have Gospels, we have history, epistles, prophecy, law. We have the Old Testament or New Testament. You have the date completed. So a great thing about this is if you pay for Notion, I think it's like $5 a month if you have the paid version, you can do automations. And so I did set up a few automations here for you guys. And so if you do have the paid version of Notion, the automations will work. If you have the free version of Notion, the automation will not work. And so how the automation works is every time you complete a book or a chapter, every time you click done, this will automatically populate. It takes a little minute, but it will eventually populate with the date that you actually click done on. If for some reason you're like, oh, I actually finished Genesis yesterday, not today, but you only just got around to clicking done today, you can always just click on it and change the date, and it's fine. Same thing for when you drop down into the chapters. If I read Genesis 7 today and I want to click done, again, give it some time. Notion can be a little slow, but it'll automatically populate in here. And if you ever want to clear this, right? So let's say you filled out this tracker and you're like, you know what? I want to know when was the last time I read Genesis. So I'm going to go back. I want to go back and read Genesis, and I want those all to have new dates. You can just pick not started, and eventually these these columns will clear. So like I said, it takes a little minute, but as you can see, they cleared. And for me, that was because one of the things that took so much time was sometimes I would forget to put the date, but at least as soon as I click done, it'll be done. Then you have the author. So if you are doing a deep dive into a book, or you want to get the general information about a book as a whole, one of the things you do is you figure out who wrote it. So you can put notes here about who the author was. It's just a regular text field. You could do a main takeaway. So maybe once you're done reading the book of Genesis, you're like, okay, well, what is this book about? What is the main takeaway? Or even as you're just, before you even start reading it, most Bibles have in the beginning, like, what is the main themes or messages of this book? And that goes into my next column, which are themes. So you can fill these things out. You could put down key verses. Now, the thing I love about Notion is, like, if this column is too small for you, if you just go here and unlock, well, the database is not locked. Usually I lock it. Usually it'll look like this, and what that means is that you can't really like move these elements around. So if you ever just want to make the column bigger, you just unlock the database, and then you just hover over it and you just kind of drag it to make it bigger. So I'm just gonna lock this back. So yes, so you can put your key verses here. So as you're reading through the different chapters, you'll figure out what those key verses are for you, or what other people say those key verses are, and then you can also put down important people. The book of Genesis, you might put Abraham, you might put Isaac, you might put Jacob, you might put Joseph. And then it just says what it is, book of the Bible. And the reason that is because when you do the drop down here and you start getting into the chapters, you can see that it's a chapter. So that's basically the main part of the tracker. Now, when you go and drop down into a book, right? So let's open up this page. We're going to open and we're going to enlarge it. Basically, you can choose to fill out the page here or in the main database. There are 9 more properties that we don't usually see, so you can open that up. I won't go into super detail about what all these properties do, like sub items and parent item. Like sub item is obviously all the different chapters and stuff. If you're not familiar with Notion, I would say it would be good to go watch some YouTube videos or go on Notion's website and actually look at how, like, the basic functionalities of a database in Notion. So when you come to a books page, they're all pre-populated with the chapters. And we'll go through this when I go back to the main database. But as you fill in like the verse and stuff like that, anytime you relate it back to a certain book, it'll automatically pop up on that book's page. So I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So right now we have all the chapters displayed for Genesis. And this is so that as you're going through each chapter, if you want to take notes per chapter, you can, or if you ever come back and you want to do a deep dive in a chapter, you can. And so I'm going to click on Genesis chapter 1. And as you can see, we have all these templates here. And all these templates correspond with all the other tabs in the Bible tracker. So let's make this bigger. And so this is a chapter. So I'm going to click on the chapter study template. And that's just going to auto-populate for you some suggestions on how I tend to do my chapter Bible studies. And so it has an overview of the chapter, historical and cultural content, all that good stuff. I'll let you go. I won't go through everything because we'll be here forever. But this is basically what it entails. You can change this. You can change this as you see fit. If you ever want to, let's go back to the main Bible tracker. If you ever want to change a template, you can just click on this arrow right here, drop down, and these are all your templates. And once you click on them, they'll pop up, and any changes you make to this page will make changes to the template. And so going forward, you can use that new template on new chapter. So if you use the template already on the old chapter, it won't change on that chapter, but anything going forward, it'll change. And so that's what all the pages look like. So like that's Genesis, or if we go to Esther, same thing. And they're all filtered so that, again, like I said, as you make your way through these tabs and add things, it'll automatically pop up. So let me show you what I mean. So we go to verse map, right? So this is basically verse mapping. If you've never heard of verse mapping before, it's basically taking one verse and doing like a deep dive study into that one verse about what it means and how to apply it to your life. So let's say this verse 1 here, let's say I want to make this Psalm 91. Psalm 91 verse 5, right? I don't know that off the top of my head,
But let's say I want to do Psalm 91 verse 5, and I apologize if you can hear the grass being mowed outside, right? Before I even get into the template and everything, I'm gonna put this as being in the Old Testament. I don't know what the themes and stuff are yet because I haven't done it yet. I don't know what the main takeaway is, but I am gonna put in this related column. I'm gonna put Psalm. I'm gonna put Psalms, right? Because that's the book that it's related to. Great. Now, similar to the chapter study, when you go here, you can click on the verse mapping template and it will auto populate the verse mapping template that I recommend. But again, if you have something that you already like, feel free to customize these templates. Like I said before, you go back to the main template. Well, not even, you can just click this arrow and here are all your templates for you to utilize. So now let's go back to the main books of the Bible, right? Let's go down to Psalms. So we're going to open Psalms. We're going to make this bigger. And then let's go look at verse map. So now it's here. It popped up automatically because I related it. Now, let's go to a character, right? Let's go to a character and let's call this character Moses, because Moses shows up in different parts of the Bible. And we also have a character study template here as well. I won't click on it right now, but you click on it, it'll auto populate. I'll show you what all the templates look like in a second. You'll put Old Testament. You can put the key verses that are important to Moses, other important people like maybe Aaron and Jethro, right? The themes that are related with Moses. What's the main takeaway? And you can put related. Now the great thing with relations, you can put more than one. So we're gonna put Exodus, and we're gonna click on Exodus, and then we're gonna put Numbers, right? So Numbers will pop up. We're gonna put Deuteronomy. I always have a hard time saying this one. Deuteronomy. These are all the books that Moses pops up in, right? And so the cool thing about this now is when we go back to the books of the Bible and we go to Exodus, right? Obviously, when I go to character study, Moses is going to be here, right? Now let's go back. When I go to, I should have put Leviticus, but when I go to Numbers, Moses is also going to be there. As you can see, he's already there already, right? So we're going to go to character. Moses is there. So as you're going through, whether it's a character, whether it's a theme, so say the theme is sin, or say the theme is rest, or say the theme is anxiety, like you can put all these different relations, like what books of the Bible are these things related to, right? When you click on theme, and also what the key verses are related to this theme. So like again, I'm going to show you what the templates look like. Same thing with word study. Maybe there are certain words that show up repeatedly in certain books. You can do that as well. You can also make chapters. You can also, I wouldn't in this template, I didn't build it out by chapter, meaning like all the relations can only be to books. I didn't do relations to chapters. And if you want to build that out, or if that's something that you do want to see me build out, let me know and I can. It takes a little more time. This template also took a very long time to conceptualize and build. But if that is something that you would like, let me know and I can build it out. Or if you're really good with Notion, like feel free to build it out and add to this template yourself. And then you can do geographical studies. So maybe like Mount Moriah or the land of Canaan, like all the, the Garden of Eden, like the promised land, like you can do all of that. And again, you can relate all of these places back to a certain book of the Bible and it'll show up on the Bible's page. This last tab is resources. I have a bunch of resources like from Daily Grace Co. And like I just like to keep a running tab of all the different Bible resources that I like to use in my Bible study, so that when I am in this template, they're easily accessible. So whether it's Daily Grace Co. or my Tony Evans Study Bible or online links, you can also add something here. You can also add something here that says links, a category here that says links, and you can actually paste the link to it if you want to. But yes, this template is really made for you to make it your own. I think this is a good foundation and a good starter for someone. But again, everyone is unique in their Bible study journey and everyone has different needs. And so this was just to get you going, but feel free to manipulate this and use it to your liking. for your personal use, not to resell, but for your personal use. And then, okay, let's go through the template. So you already saw the chapter and the verse. Let's look at the character study template. So we're going to go back out here. So it has the character, the context, their story, what they're known for, strengths and weaknesses, victories and challenges, different questions that you might want to consider, key information, all that kind of stuff. And again, this is not for you to build out in one sitting. These may be things that you, as you go along through the years in your Bible study, this may be things that you end up filling out. But the whole point is that this grows with you throughout the years. So we're going to do a thematic Bible study. So this is for the themes. Like I said, Notion sometimes can take a little while to load things depending on how big your database is. The bigger the database, the slower it runs. So be patient. You have to be patient with Notion, especially for a database this big. Like this template is taking a very long time to load. Oh, here we go. So introduction to the theme, the key passages, all that kind of good stuff. Let's go to the word study template. Let's see how long this one takes to load. Here we go. Word, the definition, the passages and verses that it pops up in relation to the gospel, different questions, summary, and from based on what you learn. We always do application. I base a lot of these templates on the SOAP study method. So scripture, observation, application, and prayer. And so that's basically kind of like how each one is structured. So this one is a geographical study. Same thing, just a few things for you that I think are important. But again, feel free to add to all these things. If you ever delete like a chapter by accident and you want to get it back and you want to get back that chapter breakdown, this is the template for the book pages. So it has the chapters. So you see, it looks just like if you click on Genesis and Exodus, you see. The only thing you have to do is just once you, like again, if you know Notion, then once you create a view of this, well, once you use this template on a page, you just, use the template. You just have to go in and change like the parent item to like whatever book it is that you need to put it on. Same thing for verse map. You just need to go in here and change the relation to whatever book it is, and then it'll work. So I gave you that template just in case like you delete a book by accident or something like that and you need to get it back, or maybe you want to use this for something else, whatever the case may be. So that's basically the template, y'all.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. Like I said, I put a lot of labor and love into building that template. It is by no means perfect. It's definitely something that I'm going to continue to tweak as I go along, and I'll continue to update it, so maybe check back every year to see if something changed. I mean, honestly, it would probably be too much of a hassle to keep downloading a new one every year, especially if you started filling out the old one. But I really, really hope that you download it. I hope that you share it with other people. I hope that it's something that you find useful. Please, if you do download it and use it, come back here, send me a message on Instagram, something just to let me know how it worked for you, or anything, or any ways it can improve, or just any of your thoughts. I would really, really appreciate it. It's kind of been my baby. I mean, it just feels good for it to finally be at a point. I won't say done, because works of art are never done, but it's finally at a point where I feel good to share it. So if you found this video helpful, like I said, if you think this is a resource that someone you know would benefit from, definitely like, subscribe, share this video with other people, subscribe to the YouTube, follow me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Follow my Substack, like you may not know, I'm a writer. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.